It is I, Tempest Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the Shadowrun role-playing game system. We were talking about using your karma to improve your characters last time, and we mentioned learning new skills or new skill groups. Let's talk about improving your existing skills and skill groups, because, well, learning new ones is great and all, but there are times and a place for it. It might not seem reasonable for you to learn a new one. You might want to improve the ones you have, and there we have to understand the process for it. When it comes to raising an individual skill, I can raise it up to a maximum of 6. That is the natural maximum. Now, granted, there are a time where I could raise it up to a 7. There's a positive quality which unlocks that, but that's something that not every character is going to have. Every time I raise it up a individual rank, it costs me an amount of karma equal to twice the rank I'm attempting to achieve. So if I'm aiming for a rank of 4 in this new skill, it would cost me 8 karma. So I'm going to 4, cost me 8, etc., going up on there. It's very important to note that whenever you're raising a skill to that 7 maximum, above the 6 natural, when you gain an ability to do so, it costs you twice the normal karma cost. So that 7 should be 14, but double that, it's 28. Or if you could somehow go to 8, it would cost you 16 times 2, 32, etc. Those 7 really should be that maximum. Now you can also improve skill groups. Skill groups have a cost of 5 times the rank that you're trying to go to. So it does save you some karma when you raise up a skill group. Just like with a normal skill, a skill group has a maximum of 6 to raise it to. So going to 2 would cost me 10, then 15, 20, 25, 30 karma to raise a skill group to 6 from 5. An important note here that you should think about is if you should ever raise an individual skill from within a skill group, you've broken that group. And each of those skills then has to be raised individually from then on. So think about that carefully. It does save you some karma points to raise that group as an actual group, but you might not need or want all the skills from that group. It becomes an interesting trade-off to think about. Now you can also use karma to get a specialization. Skills can have specializations, and you might not start the game with any specializations and any skills. Of course, you might. That's going to be up to when we're talking about your skills and taking them early on. It is important to note, skill groups don't have specializations, individual skills do. So if you want to put a specialization to a skill, it'll cost you 2 karma. Now let's say I have a specialization in a skill, but it's not helpful, and I want to change my specialization. You theoretically can. You go to your game master, you talk to them and discuss the fact that this specialization doesn't seem appropriate, maybe this one seems like much more of an appropriate specialization. If your game master allows you to change it, then you can spend the 2 karma, get rid of the old specialization, put the new one in. Because you can only have 1 specialization on a time on every one of your skills. And remember noting again, a group does not have a specialization, the individual skills have specialization. This doesn't mean I couldn't specialize in all the skills within the group, I would just have to apply those specializations, each on their own. Now karma can be used to raise your attributes. These could be your physical attributes, your mental attributes, these could be your edge, your magic if you are a magic user, your resonance if you're a technomancer. All of these are your attributes and karma can raise them. The cost to raise a attribute is equivalent to the rank that you're attempting to go to, your new rating, times 3 in karma. So it's a little more expensive than a skill, but not super expensive. Now, your physical and mental attributes, you're going to use your meta type to determine your maximums. It'll normally tell you, you start now, this is your maximum, you can raise it to that maximum using this bits of information. So, for example, a human starts at 1, max is 6. Pretty simple. As soon as you become something like an elf, it might have an attribute that goes to 7 as a maximum, or 8 as a maximum, or trolls, which get very high number maximums, but they start with a lower minimum. So it still raises it up, but the thing is the cost is still the same. It's still just as expensive. So that's a disadvantage of certain meta types. Is yes, I can get to a 7, 8, 9, etc. naturally, but it's just more expensive. Trolls can have a huge amount of strength, a huge amount of body. It's just really expensive to throw them up there because it's still the same amount of karma. 3 times the score you're trying to get to. And you apply any kind of enhancements after you figure out what your natural would be. So though I might have a whole bunch of cybernetic enhancements, throwing my total to a certain point in time, as long as I don't reach that augmented maximum of my meta type, then I could raise it naturally, and I look to the natural score, not the augmented score, for your physical and mental attributes. Now, Edge, of course, works a lot the same, but it normally is 1 to 6, except for humans, which go up to 7. And then Magic and Renaissance, they have a maximum that is equivalent to, well, 6, plus your initiation rating if it's magical, or your submersion rating if it's resonance, if you're a technomancer. So those can, being initiated or submersion, can increase your maximums and therefore allow you to spend more karma on it. If I have an initiate rating of 6, guess what? My maximum now in Magic is 12. It will still cost me 36 karma to raise my Magic from 11 to 12. I can do it, but it's going to be expensive. Now, karma can also be used for a number of other things. Give you positive qualities, remove negative qualities, give you spells in complex forms. Let's start with some of the basics. Positive qualities. You don't just purchase a positive quality when you would reach the point in time where you could unlock it. No, what would happen is, at a certain point in time, your game master can decide that you have earned a positive quality. Whether it's one that you've been doing things or perhaps going on missions in order to unlock, maybe working at it in certain ways, or just something you'd stumble upon in the course of your adventures. As long as it's one that appropriately fits within the character. And an important note here is it has to be one that isn't very natural or inborn. Things like being an awakened character or being a technomancer, you cannot take during the mid-character. You have to have had that to begin with. That's something that you would have had to establish at the beginning of those your character creation. You can't purchase into this quality. Now, once you do find a quality that you want to purchase into, you have to spend an amount of karma equal to twice the bonus points it would have cost to take that positive quality. So if it had a bonus point cost of 5, it would cost you 10. So it can get expensive with the karma. An important note on this one is, when your character does gain that positive quality, you spend that karma. If I don't have enough karma to buy for it, I still get the positive quality. What happens now is I then don't gain karma until that cost is paid. Effectively, when I would next time be gaining some karma, that karma goes to the cost that I couldn't pay. It's basically paying it afterwards, and I'm never touching that karma that would be going there. It's going into here, filtered right away until I pay off that cost, then I gain karma as normal. A very important thing here is you can do stuff to lose positive qualities. That can happen too. If I should lose one or one becomes obsolete, I don't get a refund for my positive quality. If I even spent karma for it, I don't get anything back in return. Or the bonus points I might have spent for it. Nothing comes back to me. If I do something that makes me lose it, it's gone, it doesn't matter. Now, negative qualities, I can get rid of them at a similar cost. However much bonus points I was granted for taking this negative quality, twice that amount in karma must be spent in order to remove that. But it's not just, I want to spend the karma, get rid of this. No. In-game, you have to have been working to overcome this problem. Now, certain problems really can't be overcome per se. It requires maybe, getting special medical procedures, or working through things like addictions, or getting rid of various other problems that you could have through various means. It's not impossible for every negative quality to be removed. It's just there are some which don't make as much sense. You still have to work towards all of them. Whether, again, this is something that you're just doing on your off time, or you actually have to go out on a mission in order to do. Maybe you have to find out where there's this doctor that can treat my burnout from, being inside the Matrix at one point in time. Which, I want to be able to use the Matrix again without any kind of problems. Hey, there we go. Am I going to be a hacker of any kind or a decker? Probably not. A rigger. None of those, but still, I want to fix it. You can also learn spells. At a cost of 5 karma, you can learn a spell as an awakened character, as a magician or magical adept. Remember, adepts have their own thing. They're not going to buy it like this. Now, as a technomancer, you can learn complex forms too. Learning a new complex form will cost you 2 karma. To raise a complex form will cost you 2 times the rank you're trying to raise it to. But then, similar to skills, attributes, you would raise it up. Actually, it's really close to attributes. Actually, it's really close to skills because it's the same kind of cost skills has. It's 2 times whatever you're raising it up to in karma to raise that complex form to wherever you need to get it to, wherever you want to raise it to. 1 point at a time. All these raising it up levels, it's always important to note these are 1 rank, 1 point at a time that you're raising them. Your skills, your attributes, your complex forms, all of these, 1 at a time. Let's start with some basics of game mastering and try to dive into those. So the world of Shadowrun is a dangerous, exciting, complex world filled with all kinds of threats and adventures your players can, well, face off against. Your players will probably take the role of, well, the hero of your story. But hero's not a word I'd actually use. The word I'd use to describe your characters is anti-hero. That's the best way to describe a Shadowrun character. Because you have to remember, there are certain things most Shadowrun characters won't do. Things like wetworks. Things like murder. These are things that make them have a kind of code of honor, a code of conduct to themselves. They're still criminals. They're still breaking into places and stealing things. They're still trying to earn a living with that. But oftentimes, Shadowrunners, as a whole, are generally the good guys in most of the stories. They are people that want to generally do the right thing, and if they get paid for it, heck, that's just a bonus. Now, in the course of adventures, you're going to be challenging your players. You're going to be throwing them against various things they're going to encounter. And though your characters could run the game by a gun, it's an option. You should really focus and let them roleplay. The role-playing aspects, the interactions between them and each other and NPCs to drive what is going on. And that essence of role-playing should be the thing that you're going to encourage. Not their gunplay, not shoot 'em up, standoffs and things like that. Role-playing is going to be the best essence of this game you're going to want to focus on and push forward. But that's it for today. So, I finished up talking about what you could raise with karma. Skills, attributes, of course, positive, negative qualities and affecting them, spells and complex forms. I then talked a little tiny bit about what it is to be dungeon mastering players. Just a little bit of information about them, which is an intro to what we're going to mainly be talking about next time and diving deeper into game mastering. Because we want to talk about that a little bit, because we're taking a step back from you as a player and talking to you out there as the game master running over all these people. The kind of things you have to do to help establish your world, build it, and play it. Though, regardless though, I hope you're having a great day. Hey, if you actually have any interesting stories of gaining new positive qualities or removing some negative ones in a Shadowrun game over the course of an adventure, tell me about those stories. You don't hear about those tales of people messing around with their qualities as much. Anyway, until the next time, I bid you farewell.